Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start the Village Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, February 5th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would everyone please stand for a moment of silence also for all the servicemen who have passed away recently defending our freedoms? Thank you very much. Everyone sit down, please. Roll call of participants. Trustee Alpert.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Corrigan.
Present.
Trustee Osborn.
Present.
Trustee Hogue.
Present.
Mayor Curley present. A regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 4th, 2024 at 7 p.m. And a regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 1st, 2024 at 7 p.m. Can I please have a motion for the approval of the January 2024 Board of Trustees meeting minutes, please?
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee Corrigan. Can I get a second, please?
Second, Trustee Hogue.
Second made by Trustee Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. At this time, I'd like to set a public hearing. A motion to set a public hearing for Monday, March 4th, 2023 at 7:03 p.m. to consider a local law to amend the village code by enacting a new chapter entitled Procurement Best Value Bid Awards. Terry, can you explain that for a second, please?
Sure. The general municipal law requires that when purchase contracts or service contracts exceed a certain amount of money, that they have to be bid and awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. However, there's an option to allow bids to be evaluated under the best value method. And one of the biggest sources for purchasing equipment and various other materials is a company called Sourcewell, which is actually a division of the state of Minnesota. So municipalities are allowed to purchase through bids made by other municipal or state entities as long as they comply with the New York State bidding statutes. Sourcewell does not award to lowest responsible bidder, but they evaluate bids based on the best value method. They get very good prices because they bid things nationally. So in order to be able to take advantage of the bids from Sourcewell and any other entity that lets out bids not to the lowest bidder, but based on analysis of the various factors that constitute best value, the village can enact that option as long as they adopt a local law to that effect, and that would give the village the option either to go to lowest responsible bidder or best value. Would open up a whole array of other sources to make purchases from.
Okay, based on that, can I have a motion, please?
Motion, Trustee Alpert.
Motion by Steve Alpert to approve the set public hearing, seconded by Clarke Osborn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Grant writer, please. Fred, you want to come up?
Good evening, Mayor and Board. There are a few things I'd like to talk about tonight. Last month, you passed a resolution for a grant with Firehouse Subs, and that was for first responders. And the fire department, Jeremy and Michael Genito, we worked together, and we put in an application for multi-band radios, which will help during mutual aid situations. The radios are quite expensive. 4 radios are about $23,000, but hopefully we'll be able to get this grant. We'll know in about 2 months whether or not we've received that. It was a very interesting grant because they only take the first 600 applicants. They don't tell you what the application really is in advance definitively, and so they open it up at a certain date at a certain time, and they only take the first 600, and we got our application in within 2 hours, and we were one of the first 600, so that was great.
Thank you.
2 things with community development block grants. with the current project that we're working on with the 2024 application, which is the paving of West Maple Avenue from Ramapo Avenue to Meadow Avenue, and then Meadow Avenue to West Maple Avenue. Okay, so it's about 700 feet long. Anyway, a lot of it goes into these CDBG grants. You know, we had to have the Citizen Advisory Committee, then we had a public hearing, then we passed a resolution. Now this past month, we had to put in a letter of intent, which is really like a mini application with the county. Now what they're going to do is they're going to review that, and then they're going to make a determination and say, okay, everything's good, and now you'll be able to apply for the actual funding for the paving of those roads, which is approximately $150,000 once the grant is actually released. And hopefully that will be released within the next like 45 days. Ed Fagan Drive. This is a CDBG project, which is the paving of the road.
When it goes to the ball field.
Goes from the ball field.
People understand that better.
Yeah, from Ramapo Avenue, down through the ball fields to the DPW. Okay, that also is about a $150,000 project. We got approval from the county that they awarded us $140,000, which is what we actually requested because they looked for a contribution, and our contribution is going to be $10,000 for that project. They sent us a voluminous amount of paperwork to fill out now before we can sign the contract, so Michael Genito's been very instrumental in helping to get that paperwork done. It's due actually February 23rd, but we'll have it in this week. The Water Resource Development Act funding request. This is through Congressman Loughlin, okay, and through the Army Corps of Engineers, they will do a study of the flooding issue of both the Ramapo and the Mallwall River if it's approved. We had to write a letter with our intention and the reasons why and support that we would like to have the Army Corps of Engineers do this. It will now go to a committee within Congress, and if approved, then they will go ahead and do it for free of charge, okay? And then once they actually do the report, then we got to go through the next cycle to actually do an implementation. But that also would have to go to the committee, and then they would have to approve that. Within the next 30 days, we got 3 or 4 grants, which we're working on, a couple for the fire department, so I'm working with Jeremy on those. And also, I'm working with Melissa and Michael Genito on the Local Government Records Management Improvement Fund within the next 30 days. We're looking at digitizing both our birth and death records from 1896 to 1975. The birth and death records after that date are already digitized, but we're trying to do the ones which are going back further. Okay, so look forward to hearing more. You should look forward to hearing more about that at the next board meeting. Thank you.
Very good, Fred.
Thank you.
Now, the one with law, because Congressman Lawler's office called me on that one. Fred, got a second? So that one is just, that's not actually to do the work. That one's just the actual do the study with the Army Corps of Engineers. We've had flooding in Suffern for many, many years here, coming down. That actually goes into, actually tied it into Mawa also, where it goes Franklin Turnpike because of the Squires Gate, Memorial Drive, and many other streets get this flooding. So I was in touch with Congressman Lawler's office, and there's a grant you could put in for, multi-million-dollar grant. And if they usually go ahead and propose to look into it and do a study, they'll usually come and do work. It's not something that's going to happen quickly, but we know it's a concern for many people because of, that flooding has happened for many years. It starts all the way up as far as Haverstraw goes. You have the Ramapo River and the Mawa River, and when those two rivers meet, they actually meet on the Jersey side. When they actually meet, they back up, and that's what causes all the flooding even into our ball fields and everything else in this village. So I actually was in contact with them, and then I got in touch with Fred, and that's how we got that moving there, okay? And, all right, thank you, Fred, very much. Okay.
Very good, thanks.
Fire Department, Jeremy, please.
Good evening, Village Board. 2 agenda items for this evening. The first is the exception of Matthew Condon as a new member in the Suffern Hook and Ladder.
Can I have a motion, please, accepting Matthew Condon as a new member in the Hook and Ladder Company 1, please?
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee Corrigan, second by Trustee Osborn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. And the second agenda item is a resolution authorizing the posting of the preliminary length of service award program for the year 2023.
Can I have a motion, please, to authorize the posting of the preliminary Suffern Fire Department Service Award Program report for 2023, please?
Motion, trustee
Motion
Alpert.
made by trustee
Second.
Alpert, second made by trustee Corrigan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for going out at night, and that was, I actually got to watch when they were cutting into the ice on, I haven't had that pleasure, I guess, to do that in a couple of years on
We don't
Lake
have ice.
Antrim there and doing water rescues. That was very, very
We
impressive.
were actually fortunate to have ice for once.
Yeah, very good. You got lucky with the ice, right? Very good. They wanted to throw me in, but I got out of there. I was quicker than that. You gotta get your guys to speed up. Thank you. Item Chief Loughlin, please.
Good evening, board members. In the month of January, the police department responded to 765 calls for service. I have 2 agenda items for the board's consideration tonight. The first item, I would like to request that the board accept the retirement of Detective Sergeant Craig Yustine. Detective Sergeant Yustine began his career in July of 2003 with the NYPD before being hired by our department in July of 2004. Detective Sergeant Yustine held the rank of patrolman before being promoted to patrol sergeant in 2020 and finally detective sergeant in 2023. In addition to these duties, he handled all of the IT needs for our department, was the head evidence and property custodian, and also served as the PBA vice president. His knowledge and leadership will be missed by all of us in the department, and we wish him well in his retirement.
We thank Detective Justine for, doing a great job at this village. And so I get a motion accepting retirement Detective Sergeant Craig Justine, please. Motion, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by trustee Corrigan. Second, please.
Second, trustee Alpert.
Second made by trustee Alpert. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. My last agenda item is a request for the board to accept $3,750 in grant funding from the County of Rockland, Stop DWI, which will be used for DWI enforcement patrols.
Motion accepting the $3,750 for the grant funding, please. Motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by trustee Osborn. Second, please.
Second, trustee
Second made by
Corrigan.
trustee Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Chief
you.
Loughlin.
Good luck to Detective Sergeant Craig Yustine.
Recreation, please.
Good evening, everybody. So a few items that we have for this evening. This Friday is the Dare Dance over at the Community Center, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. You're always invited and happy to attend, I'm sure. The next Wednesday, February 14th, we will be having the Valentine's Luncheon for our seniors. We have a huge turnout already, so it's from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock over at the Community Center. So you're welcome to attend if you are around during the day. Again, it's 12 to 2 next Wednesday, the 14th. Care About the Strays is a local organization who has asked to use the center. They are renting it out for a fundraiser, so that will be on Sunday, February 25th. Care About the Strays is their website. You can look to get tickets if anyone in the public is interested in attending. And that starts at 12 noon, the doors open, and 1 o'clock is when they start doing their event. So that's over at the center on February 25th. And then, do you want me to go through all the items on the agenda? I had a feeling.
What, your
I had a
17
feeling.
pages?
Now, the Dare Dance is a village event, correct, Cathy? That's a village event.
Yes, it is.
And so is the Valentine Luncheon for Seniors, a village event.
Yes, it is.
Okay? The Care About the Strays is a private organization who is renting our facility.
Correct.
Correct. Thank you. All right?
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Cathy.
Thank you.
All right?
Well, that's a turkey.
At this point, I'm going to have a motion to open up the public comment period. You're going to have 4 minutes to speak. You can come up and make your comments, and then, we'll address them, later in the meeting or as we feel we need to be. Thank you. Yeah, can I get a motion, please?
Motion, trustee Alpert.
Motion by trustee Alpert. Say a second, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Second made by trustee Corrigan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Jim Genito, 2 Memorial Drive. I have a question on the removal of the signs at the Little League field, Kukalo Field. What triggered that?
Well, the law did, actually, Jim.
Okay,
I guess
what law and when was it
Go all your questions
passed?
and now go ahead. Do all your questions, please.
What law
Signs.
and when was it passed?
It's been in existence for many, but I'd rather ask all your questions and then we'll go ahead. I think you've seen literature that's been out there, legal paperwork,
No,
or no?
I haven't seen it,
Okay,
otherwise I
give it to
wouldn't
both
be
your
asking.
sons. Both of your sons have been given it by me, so.
Okay.
I'm curious. I gave it to Little League, I gave it to a lot of people, so. But go ahead, ask all your questions, Jim.
Okay. I'm also under the impression that Little League is going to be charged for the use of the fields?
By law, we have to charge any outside entity to use. That's correct, Jim.
Little League has been in existence, I think, probably almost as long as I'm walking this earth. They've never paid for the use of the fields, okay? And the reason for that, I have no idea, just like no one knew about this law. Who dug this law up? Somebody had to go looking for it, because it's been in existence, I believe, for about 50 years.
Right, so you know about the law.
No, I know when it was supposedly done.
Okay.
I don't know what the law says, and why is it being enforced 50 years later?
Because we've become aware of the law, and we have an obligation. This board has to follow the law as we can.
You can't amend the law.
I've actually sat down with Little League.
You
and
can't
they've
amend the law.
Little League has actually showed it to their council. They showed it to and they came to us and they said their council agrees with us.
Okay,
Just so
but
you're
you can
aware.
pass a law amending it or deleting it. You are the governing body
This
of
is
the
not a
village.
village law. This has to do with the Attorney General and if I'm gonna let Terry, I'm gonna let the lawyer.
Yeah, let Terry speak.
Thank you. Yeah, I was asked to take a look at this, and the opinions of the Attorney General and the Comptroller's Office are quite clear. Now, the Attorney General and the Comptroller's Office gives opinion on what municipalities can and can't do. They interpret the law so that the municipalities have guidance. And it starts from the proposition that a municipality can't use taxpayer money to aid private persons or private entities, and it goes off from there. And the opinions are abundantly clear that a municipality can't expend money to finance the operations of a Little League program. And there's various opinions that look at various aspects of that. But it's very clear that it goes back to the proposition that it would be using taxpayers' money for a private purpose.
Okay.
The only way you can
I'm going to reiterate my question. Who found this law and why did it come up?
We came up because a resident wanted to use the fields last year, and I asked Terry to look it up. Who do I have to let you use the fields and not being they were our fields? So I did it to protect us, not to hurt us, okay?
Okay.
So I have an obligation, okay, to follow this law now that this law is there, okay? Because anyone has to be given the same exact right as anyone else. So I've sat down with Little League. We've actually come up, and Little League has sat down, and actually, they've had this paperwork, and Little League actually agrees with it, to tell you the truth. They gave it to Richie Ellsworth, their attorney, and their attorney actually agrees with it.
Okay.
And that's what they sat down with us last week. So I've come to them now, and I said, okay, tell me when you need to use the fields. I need to know when, because if I don't know when they need to use the fields, another person can come in and then say, I want the field on that day. So Little League has now given me all the days they want the fields. We're figuring out how we are going to apply charges, okay? Suffern, Little League itself is an organization that pays out about $10 million, not to the volunteers here locally, about $10 million in salaries and benefits, okay? It's an organization that also gives money to Europe, overseas money to promote Little League overseas, okay? Last year in Suffern Little League, and this is not the reason, this is not anything to do with the law, but this is another point. There were about 297 kids registered in Suffern Little League last year. 120 of those kids lived in the village of Suffern. 177 did not. Okay, live in the village of Suffern. Yet, what happened is Ramapo Little League has folded, Tuxedo Little League has folded, and every bit of burden has been put on the village of Suffern for all the costs. There was a study by Suffern back in 2018 done, where they evaluated that the cost of Little League was over about 117, 118,000 back then. That's when they thought that the lights and things were worth so much, okay?
Is it the worth or the cost?
It's the work and the cost together.
Well, the worth was paid for every one of those fields, Kukalo, Velarde, Horton, Crotty. The Suffern Little League paid for those lights.
I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about...
Well, you said the worth.
I'm talking about the cost now, what we know now, okay? All I can tell you is that for me to do my job and to protect Little League and other sports, if I go and give the fields for free to Little League, I have to give the fields for free to everyone, okay? To everyone. And that is then whoever comes to me first would get that day. But I ask this question. Why should a woman, an 85-year-old woman from Stonegate who can't afford her medicine, okay, who can't afford to pay all her bills, and this is my opinion, have to pay for someone for Tuxedo Park? I don't agree with that. I agree Suffern should be taken care of, but I don't agree that that person should have to chip in for someone from Tuxedo Park, okay? Now, the signs by law have to be taken off the fence. I don't hide from any subject, and that's why I'll stand and say it all. A sign is not allowed to be put on by a Little League team, nor am I allowed to lease a fence out to Little League, and you can all read this stuff, this is not coming from me, to Little League, all right? We can't do that either, all right? Even when I spoke with Jim Hart about Little League and the fence, he says, yeah, it was a mess, all the signs were a mess, and that he was going to get to fixing it up himself soon, but he didn't have time yet. So he realizes, we had stuff from the AMP there, we had stuff that hasn't existed in years up there. But a Little League is an outside organization, okay? It's an outside organization, and I played in Suffern Little League, but I know enough to know that there are always people watching what I do and what moves I make. So I'm making the right move to protect this board legally, to protect this village legally, to protect the taxpayers legally, and to protect Little League legally. Everyone might not agree with it, and they may not like it, but unfortunately, that's the times we're in, and that's what the law says. And I sat down with Little League, and they've I sat down with the president of Little League, and I sat down with another board member. I sat down with Jim Hart, and I sat down with Ben Mailer. And Charles, who actually is in charge of facilities, is working on that, okay? So they're doing his job, and we're coming up, okay? And no one's here to put Little League out of business, okay? But I'm not going to sit here, all of a sudden I have a taxpayer lawsuit saying, why didn't I do so? And that's what I'm going to end up with. I'm protecting the village from a taxpayer lawsuit, because it will happen. And I don't, because it's an outside entity. If under the law, if the village of Suffern ran the Little League or was part of the Little League, then yes, we could give it money. But it's not. It's a separate organization. You're not part of Suffern.
You could co-sponsor it.
Listen, I asked last year for Little League to meet with me before the year started so we could go ahead and figure something out. They went ahead and put up their registrations and went ahead without me, because it appears Little League International doesn't like you when you team up with municipalities. Okay?
Mike, I gave you a suggestion 2 years ago about non-residents playing in the league. You and I sat down and we spoke. I said,
Who are you talking about?
You and I spoke about the non-resident players.
Right.
You remember that conversation? Go,
I know.
go to the,
Sure,
go
I just
to the
said- I
members.
just said it now. I don't think a person from, a woman who can't afford a medicine should pay for stuff.
Go to the mayors of Montebello, of whatever entity they have players in this league, and solicit contributions to cover your cost, because when I was president, I got contributions from these villages.
I don't know if you did, I don't know if you didn't.
Well, I'm not making it up as I go
All I know
along.
is that
This
we've
is
been
not
told
debate.
by people in Little League and football that they were told by the mayor of Sloatsburg it's illegal. And you know what? Reading the law, reading it, they're right, it's illegal.
You know what's illegal?
Okay,
If you
stop.
charge them extra. But if their municipalities donate the funds, you're not charging them.
You know what, Jim? Then
Well, I think you should talk to your fellow mayors and boards. And that would solve the problem. And another thing, do they get any credit in lieu of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that was spent for lighting and fixing fields and building Horton Field, that the village never paid any of that?
And Jim, if you went back, if you wanted to go back and look at all the charges, if you were 120 a year for the last 20 years, how much, you'd be at millions then too. So
I'm
no,
sorry?
you'll be at millions then. If the benefit was over $100 and something thousand, right now I guarantee you it costs over $150,000. Nobody's expecting anyone to do that, okay? But we have to cover ourselves legally so we're not sued by everyone in the world.
I fully agree you should cover the village.
Right. Have
But
you
give
read-
them credit.
Have you read this? Have
Give
you
them
read this, yes or
credit
no?
for the hundreds of thousands of dollars they invested
have you read this, yes
in
or
your fields.
Jim, have you read this, yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No, and I'm sure
Okay, good.
Terry can find a way that they can get credit for
We're
that.
finding a way. We're finding a way. We're finding a way. I already asked them what the rent on the, listen,
Well,
I'm actually
we'll-
negotiating with Little League, so I think really I have an obligation to, because I'm talking with them, I have an obligation to keep their negotiations.
No,
with
I'm not
them.
asking you what you
Okay,
discussed
right.
with
But-
them.
Well, I already did ask them for certain numbers, Jim. So
Well, I think they should get credit for the hundreds of thousands of dollars they invested in the village fields.
Jim,
And
Jim,
the
it'd be
thousands and
millions of dollars
thousands
the
of
other way.
hours the coaches that worked on those fields.
It's over 4 minutes.
That's all right.
Well, it was over 4 minutes last meeting, too.
All right, don't do that.
All right. I'll let them if
I
they
just
have
want you to read
questions.
the law first. No, they can talk. Listen, I understand.
I think it's totally
They're concerned.
unfair that they're going to be charged for something they built.
It's open to anyone in the public, so anyone wants to come up. Please don't do that.
Michael Tribunella, 2 Beechwood Road, and it's about the Little League. A lot of families have a problem with this. I, being a coach, a volunteer, have devoted many hours, many days to this. You still haven't come up with a price. We need, we have to speed up on this. Little League's around the corner. It's still up in the air. As a coach, I need to know what I'm going to do. This law and all that, there's always ways around. Just like there were ways before, there should be ways around. The building is locked, the concession stands, all that stuff that Little League did in Little League. Suffern people, volunteers, nonstop. It is a Suffern thing. And something else, our leagues, our fields are the worst. I've played in every other town has a better field than we do. Doesn't smell like a sewer, doesn't flood all the time, there's no scoreboards anywhere, and when they come, it's kind of like not where, when we go away, everybody else has such better fields. So it can't be either, if they're going to pay rent, then you need to elevate your game and make it fields worthy of, just like every other town. Now, with that said, I know too, you're trying to protect the town. So you guys have to find a balance between protecting the Little League, protecting the town. This is why you guys are there. I think there's a certain, for lack of a better word, animosity between league and you guys, or egos or whatever. This needs to stop. We need to go forward. All the stuff that's been said, there's a lot of stuff going out, a lot of rumors. We don't know what's true, what's not, but this needs to stop, and we need to move forward. For the kids, whether it's Sloatsburg, whatever town, they all come here. They all eat here. They all spend money here. I know that. It brings money in. It may not be direct money, but it does bring money in. And also, and no offense, the Curley Cup, that money went back for pools, for the chairs or something. That needs to go back to the league. The league does a lot of stuff. They buy uniforms, they buy a lot of stuff. Now, and it should change the name back too, because that was a tribute too. Okay? And that's what I have to say about that matter. But it needs to go back. We need to start focusing on our kids. We pay enough taxes here. We need to get something out of it besides the basics. Thank you. That's all.
So just so you know, we are moving along with Little League. We have sat down with them, okay? And we actually asked them more information, which they just gave us today, okay? Another cost, okay? So which they just gave to Charles Sawicki. So we had a very productive meeting, and if you see the emails they sent back to me, you'd realize that, okay?
Okay, no, this is great. We need to move forward.
As far as the way you talk about rumors, I just want to explain it out, okay? The way the tournament came about, okay, was that we met with Little League last year, and I said, listen, being there was so many people that were from outside of Suffern, is there something you can do for inside Suffern, okay? Jim offered me money. I said, I don't want your money. And then someone in the room, okay, said, well, why don't you do a tournament, okay? And they said, okay, we'll do a tournament for you. Then it went back to, from what I understand, it went back to Little League, and some people voted, oh, we don't want to do a tournament for the village of Suffern. Well, you know what? Suffern spends a lot of money on Little League. I don't think it was so unreasonable, right? Because there were so many people from outside the village of Suffern.
It's bad optics.
What?
It's bad optics.
You know what?
The intent might be good.
Yeah.
You could be 100% right. It looks bad.
But I'm worried about that. I'm sorry, but my mind always comes back to, listen, I love Little League, and I'll fight for it, but I got to protect us in many different ways.
You have to protect.
You say optics, you say optics, but because people went ahead and changed it around. People that, oh, you stole our money. How did I steal your money? That was a deal we cut, a fair deal we did, because I didn't want to take Little League's money. I said, I don't want your money. And they went attacking me. They wanted to...
Then it just wasn't...
You know people from Nanuet, Tuxedo, all these other places play in the Suffern Little League, correct?
Correct.
Right, so, I'm sorry, but Suffern is... Okay, there's no... Every other place in the county...
But they spend money here too, though.
No, you mentioned the town. You said the word town. We are a village. Everyone else abandoned us. The town abandoned us with Little League. The Tuxedo, everyone else abandoned us. All the costs have hit the village of Suffern now. Everyone else is gone. But the village taxpayers are hit with it. That's my concern. So I needed to come up with a solution where I was legally covered, and smartly covered, and not hurt Little League. Okay? And that's what we're doing.
Okay, I agree with that. And if we could move forward to, and that's what we want.
We're already doing it. There is no animosity. These people haven't even spoken to them. There is no animosity. We had a great meeting.
This was never addressed. The rumors are flying everywhere.
No, I understand.
And this is why we're here today.
Well, I don't know if anyone talked to Jim Hart in the last few days, but we've had, a very good meeting with him and Ben Naylor, and I assume they're the representatives of Little League. So we sat with them, and we talked about numbers, and we talked about how we're going to get them numbers, but we came back and we said, okay, how could I make this even better? So I asked for certain cost, okay? So, if someone, I have to protect the village of Suffern from multiple lawsuits, and I'm going to do that.
No, I get that.
And I have and I'll make copies of this before you leave. Everyone can read this, okay? I've offered it to people. I've given it to anyone who wants it, okay? And so they understand, they can ask questions about it, okay? But this is what we're driven by. And it may not be, you can't always make everyone happy, but, and I'm trying to work around it, okay? But
Kids are kids, though.
But I can't do it, I can't make everyone happy 100% here, and I'm just put it straight on the table. I can't.
No, but set the price or whatever it is, but also too,
Right.
you have to develop, you have to make a better product, because our product is not good. Our fields are not. I mean, as soon as it rains, we're like, oh, we have to go 5 hours early.
There were fights before me. I'll go into more of history, okay? There were fights before me with the union in Suffern. With the union fighting with Little League on the fields, and they can't do work, and this is before me. Well, now I got the union to come in and sit with, I actually got the union to come in with Jim Hart too, and make a concession that after 2:30, Little League can work on the fields themselves. Okay? That was a concession I got from the union. I pulled that off the other day. So I was with Pete Karate there. Pete Karate told me those backfield signs, they used to get $400 to rent the sign, and then $250 a year. Nobody's kept track of it. Nobody's collected this money for years, okay? It all went to whatever.
As long as we move forward, I appreciate it.
I'm doing this to protect Little League. I can't, listen, people want to go ahead and have their own little battles in their minds.
No, we just want to protect the kids, and for the kids to have something.
And I'm protecting the kids.
That's our number one concern. I thank you.
Kids, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, come on up. Anyone's allowed up.
Just as a point of order.
What? Name and address.
Yeah. Name and address, sir.
Nick, 8 Washington Circle.
Yes, sir. Okay.
As a point of order, Mr. Mayor, no
Yes.
disrespect.
Yes.
Under village law, you
Yes.
don't have the authority
Right.
to negotiate. It is a right given to the village board as a whole.
Right. We go back and vote for it. I can go and deal with them, and then
No,
I go
sir, I
back
believe
and
they would
vote.
have to appoint a committee.
No, that's not correct.
That's it.
I will respectfully disagree.
Well, I've been doing this for a few years. I can tell you, the mayor has the
And I learned how to read many years ago.
Pardon me?
I learned how to read many years ago.
Well, good.
So we can disagree on it.
I'm telling you, as a matter of law, the mayor is the executive officer. He has the ability to negotiate, and the board is the one that approves any agreement he enters into.
If you say so.
Any other questions, sir?
I'd like to know if any of the trustees have anything to say on the matter.
Well, I'll be the first one to speak up. What the mayor's saying is correct. We have to protect the village. There's things that have happened to make sure we're protected. I coached the league. I managed it. Family and friends are in it. No one's looking at Little League. And I've been hearing these rumors from a certain little group who I'm friends of. I'm still very friendly with a lot of people in Little League. And the rumors have started from within. And Jim Hart and Ben Hill had a great meeting. I'm friendly with Jim. I talk to him all the time. We're working it out, no doubt about it. And I agree with you. We will
Clarke,
vote on
if
it.
you say you're going to protect the kids of Little League, I don't even have a kid playing. But I'm still on the board because I love the sport and I love the kids.
And I don't have a kid
If
playing,
you
but
say
yes.
you're going to protect the kids,
Yes.
I trust you.
Thank you. You got to understand that there is a legality. We're just trying to protect us. And we all are in the same boat with this. The mayor's been keeping us informed, but like you said, we will vote when the time comes on this.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you saying it. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Hello, Therese Dalala. I'm on Stockbridge Avenue. I'd just like to reiterate what that gentleman just said. Chief, well, I call you Chief Osborn, but you'll always be our chief. But if you're saying you're going to protect Suffern Little League, I trust you. And it's nothing against you, Mayor Curley. It's just we've known you a long time. You've been Suffern a long time, so people do trust you. So I just want to start out with that. My first question is this law that you're talking about. I know that you said you're going to print out a copy. What is the name of this law, and why was it ignored for 50 years? Why now?
Because there's other people now wanting to use our fields.
So who is it exactly that wants to come in and use our fields? Is it other towns? Is it other... You say other people want to use the fields, so we have to charge...
Residents say they have a right to use the fields. They may live up over by Sagamore. New residents that came here, and they want to use our fields too. They have a right to use our fields, they say.
And they're willing to pay for the fields?
They're going to have to pay for the fields, correct.
So you would have to start charging Suffern Little League, because if you were to give it to us for free, then you would essentially have to give it to this other...
No, I'm not doing that at all. I'm doing it because that's what we have to do.
But did this law just come up recently because of this other group having interest in the field?
Probably because we had to research what our rights were not to give any facilities away. Like as you see, there were other things done tonight. We have the Dare Dance. The Dare is run by the village. We can put money into it. The senior dance is run by we can put money into it. The Stray Cat thing is not run by the village. They have to pay us. They'll be paying us about $600, I think, when it's all said and done.
Right, I understand.
Yeah. So by law, any facility is called a gift of taxpayer funds. We can't give a gift of taxpayer funds, that's why.
But do we have enough business wanting to use the fields that it's willing to risk the Suffern Little League? Because from what I'm seeing, I have 3 children that want to play this year. I'm upwards of $800 and something.
Yeah.
If I have to now come up with another $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 for my kids to pay, we have to pull out.
I feel comfortable in saying you will not.
You feel comfortable in saying that?
You will not have to come up with that kind of money. Okay?
The taxpayers won't, the individuals won't, the league won't?
I feel comfortable the number will be very sustainable and manageable.
Well, that's the thing, is sustainable is different for every family. I have 4 children that I have to sustain on a 1 income. So your sustainable may not be my sustainable.
Well, then you have to wait till we settle up with Little League coming up here and finish our talks, which will probably be this week.
This week, you think so?
Yeah.
And
I would not think, I feel comfortable in telling you I'm doing everything to protect Little League and protect the rights for Little League to use the field without other people controlling our fields. Okay?
I have to say, I've been an advocate for you since you've come, since you been elected mayor.
Yes.
Even with this past election, I sang your praises to a lot of people to make sure that people got you back in the seat. I believe that you have the best intentions for Suffern.
I do.
And I believe that you're showing it in some ways and not in others. And I think our biggest thing, I had to write it all down because otherwise I get too flustered.
I think because it is a different issue that people aren't used to, but if I can just bore you for 1 second. I was asked to, one day I was at a meeting here, 12 o'clock we had a meeting. By the time I came out of that meeting, I had emails and faxes coming into me to my phone here. But why don't we have a crossing guard at the Connor School, okay? Now, I didn't know where this all of a sudden came from. Supposedly, some parent was concerned something happened with their kid. So I had to... So I get on the phone, okay? I come to find out that something had happened, so then a lot of people, call the mayor, okay? So I had to make a choice and look into about doing a crossing guard at Connor School, okay? Now remember, we only have one school, one official school like that, okay? So I had to say to myself, if the school district has 7 schools, if we can get the school district to pay us to do it, because we only have 1 school, that would be better for the village of Suffern. Because I was afraid that if I put 1 crossing guard there, any other little school, any other private school that opened up, whether they have 2 kids, 5 kids, or 7 kids, I then would have had to provide a crossing guard for each one of those schools or groups individually. I could have been stuck at some time down the road with 50 or 100 crossing guards that the village taxpayers are paying for. So I had to make a choice, even though it was an easy, you could say to yourself, oh, just put a crossing guard there, okay? It sounds like an easy choice to make. Just put a crossing guard there. But it's not an easy choice to make with the things and situations that we have going on in our lives. I'll say it that way. So I chose not to. I chose to go there myself, stand there. I chose to get them to repaint the lines, which we're going to be doing again there. I talked to Charles Sawicki there and do things. Put other stop signs there. Don't make a left-hand turn light. Because I knew what other things could come if I did that. So we're making a decision here that is not a popular decision, you might say, but it's the right decision for the village of Suffern. Okay, and it will not, you will not be affected, you will not, you will not, what I do here will not change whether you're joining Little League or not. It will not, trust me.
I mean, I want to believe you, and I want to trust you, and I know the proof will be in the pudding when we see it happen.
I tried, that's why I tried last year. I said, do something else first, so I had a way to justify what I was getting money. But then I got so berated for doing that, okay? So, you know, so now,
I just have to say, like,
unfortunately further, so I'm trying to cover us on everything that goes on, like, giving away the community center, giving away this, giving away that, you know? You have to be very careful.
Well, that's
which
the thing.
we've always charged.
You brought up, too, about, you know, why should the 85-year-old woman have to pay for Suffern Little League? But
no, not for Suffern Little League. I actually said for someone who lives in Tuxedo Park is how I say it. Because that's the end of what's going on. Because she's actually, because they all abandon us, like I said. Like usually, okay, the town of Orangetown, they have Little League. The town of Stony Point has Little League. The town of Orange has Little League, okay? Here it's the village of Suffern's running everything. We're not the town. That's the difference. We don't, like, they're getting all the monies from everywhere. We're just getting money from our smaller pool.
But the problem is, you said that everyone keeps abandoning us.
That's correct. I'm not abandoning us, and I'm trying to save us, so we're not abandoning.
What I would like to say is, I'm at the point where I want to abandon Suffern. I've been at a podium fighting the school board over closing a school and rezoning and redistricting. Now I'm here again fighting over Suffern Little League having to pay. The thing is, it's just going to drive people out of Suffern. We're going to drive people away.
But I'm doing it so people aren't driven out, so I'm not sued, and we're not driven out.
Then I think it needs to be...
I'm doing it to protect Suffern, that's all I can say.
It needs to be made clear, because people are seeing, this is an increase, now we're going to have to pay this much more money, our taxes are going up.
Your fees are already decided for Little League. Your fees have already been set. Your fees, so I'm telling you, your fees have already been judged. You already put your fees out there. The Little League's not going to go up because of me. Lily's not going to go up a dime because of me, all right?
So at least what I personally have heard is that Suffern is going to be requesting $10,000 from the Suffern Little League.
I don't know what the number be, but I don't know what the number is, but could that be a reasonable number? That could be a reasonable number.
How does Suffern Little League come up with that money other than charging the members? How else are they supposed to come up with that money?
I don't know. What do they have in there? Listen, I don't look at their books, so I can't judge them on that track.
I mean, I can't either. I only know.
I don't know. Listen, they're not a part of Suffern. You understand in that sense? They're part of Suffern. They're a Little League that plays in Suffern. It's not.
They are part of Suffern, though. Every kid that has come through that field is a part of Suffern.
They're not. Unfortunately, they're not part of our recreation. If Little League would have let them be part of our recreation, then we can give everything. We don't have to charge anything. And I'll make a copy for you. If they were a part of Suffern, yes, I agree with you.
So what would have to be done in order for them to be considered a part of Suffern?
It has to, I can read the...
It's one of the opinions.
Can you read it? It's actually one of the legal opinions.
Yeah, one of the comptroller's opinions says a municipality may contribute funds to a Little League baseball affiliated organization pursuant to an agreement whereby the organization is to run a portion of the municipal recreation program under the supervision and control of the municipality. The program must be a legitimate one instituted for the benefit of a municipality's residents and not a device to channel public money to a private organization. determination as to whether a league-affiliated organization could enter into an agreement is one best made by the officials of Little League Baseball Incorporated, because apparently there were some opinions that the Little League Constitution didn't even allow that in any event.
So I don't know, maybe you could put that into layman's terms for me, because what I heard was that if we're willing to pay a portion of it, then we can be part of Suffern, but maybe I'm misunderstanding.
No. If Suffern, if it was part of our recreation program, like DARE is a part of our recreation program, okay? Then we're allowed to, by law, put money in. Little League has never been a part of the Village of Suffern Recreation Program, okay? And there would have to be agreement between Little League and the Village of Suffern to do that, which I was willing to do that. And actually, we were waiting for Little League to come with us this year to sit down with us so I could do that and not have any charges. But they went ahead and put it up and just went ahead and just, you know, did their own thing. So I wanted to do that. I found an out. Everyone says find an out. I had the out. It was right here. But they went ahead their own way, Little League. So, you know, I sat down with a guy named, a different gentleman first. His name was Brown, okay? Mr. Brown, nice gentleman there. I guess he works with Major League Baseball. We had our first meeting with him. Jim Hart was away, wherever he was, vacation or something. And then Jim Hart was busy working during the holiday season because of his job. So I'm not holding anything up. I asked for more information to find a way, but there's by law, we have to have a charge. So.
All right, and we can all get a copy of that this evening, you said?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's not giving it out to many people.
All right, and then just my last, going back to something that I said, but you had cut me off, I just want to reiterate that the 85-year-old woman shouldn't have to pay, but the thing is, before I had children, I paid school taxes. I didn't have children, but I paid them. And when I'm an older woman, I'll still have to pay them. It doesn't matter what age someone is, if you live in the village, if you live in the town, the taxes are the taxes, and you're saying that that's not fair to them, but I currently pay taxes for the senior citizens to have dances every month and have chair yoga every week.
Right.
I pay for that.
Because the village event.
Right, it's a village event, but I pay taxes for that. So, and I'm happy to do it. I think it's wonderful, and I believe that they deserve it, and I'm thrilled that they do it. And I'm at the community center more often than not. But the thing is that we're members as well, so to say that she shouldn't have to pay for us, but then we shouldn't have to pay for them.
I'm not saying that. I said, no, you're a village resident. I didn't say she shouldn't have to pay for you. I say she shouldn't have to pay for the person from Tuxedo Park or the person from Nanuet.
Then why are we letting them into Suffern Little League?
Because that's Little League's rules. It's not Suffern Little League. That's my whole point to you. Little League is a separate organization, nothing to do with Suffern. That's their rules. They let Nanuet people in. They let Tuxedo in. That was never a deal done with Suffern. Do you understand? More than 60% of kids in Suffern Little League aren't from Suffern.
I was going to say, what were the numbers again, Mayor? I think it would be good to repeat them.
That would be nice to know them, yeah.
Last year was about 297 kids in Suffern Little League. About 120 were from the village of Suffern. 177 were outside the village of Suffern, including one or two maybe from Nanuet, Chestnut Ridge, of course, Sloatsburg.
We live in Montevideo, we can live in areas and play in Suffern, but it's outside of the village. It's still within our...
But I think what the mayor's saying, if I may chime in...
Come to the microphone, you're more than welcome.
It's not paid fire.
I just want to chime this one thing in. I think what the mayor is pointing out is that why should Suffern residents be subsidizing people who live in other communities? In other words, we have enough trouble paying the bills for our own residents, and in this case, the majority of people playing the Little League are not even from Suffern. So I think that he's trying to protect the residents so that we're not paying taxes for services going to other people in other communities that are not the village of Suffern. That's all I wanted to add.
But don't we do that anyway for certain communities that are in Suffern? I mean, we pay for busing that's not for certain community members. They're part of the...
Busing for what?
I mean, there are communities that have their...
Like you mentioned the school district and stuff like that, or the school. You mentioned something with, like...
I mean, we pay, the taxpayers, yeah, they pay for private busing for private schools.
But that's the school district. That's the whole school district.
I understand, and there's a difference between village tax and the school tax.
No, the school district, if you don't have 80... I'll give you this, because the athletic director called me up, about this situation here. And I explained things to him. He says, if you don't have 85% of the kids, like if it's a local thing, are supposed to be from actually the town, from the Suffern School District, well, they wouldn't even give you the field, he told me. So but that, we're not looking to do that. We're not looking to go against Suffern Little League, okay? But I have an obligation and the lawyer has already met with us, months ago in executive session about what we're legally allowed to do, okay? And what we're not legally allowed to do. So that's all we're trying to do. But at the same time, I do think it's important to recognize that the village of Suffern, because everyone has abandoned, has taken on this complete burden. That's sad. But Stoltzberg, Tom Iaquinto, he was a Little League guy, and he was a football guy. He came to me and he said he went to the mayor at Stoltzberg asking for money. The mayor of Stoltzberg says, I can't give you no money, it's illegal. And you can ask him this yourself. So they're not allowed to give us, they're not allowed to to do it because they're not allowed to spend their funds because it's an outside organization. You understand? So, but I am, listen, Suffern, Little League, it did have different groups of people from different things. But Little League, then when they went ahead and made these deals with Ramapo Little League, they went ahead and made these deals, okay? There was never a consideration for Suffern. So I just use that as my example you said was an 80 side. Or anyone in Bon Air, Stonegate, or this, or on your street, okay? So I can't tell Little League to say, okay, that one's from a different village, you charge them more. Because I have no control over Little League. We have no say over Little League, zero, okay? We only have say over our property and our buildings, that's it, okay? And you can see on this piece of paper here too, so it's not me just a village may not permit a Little League to sell and place advertising the outfield fence of the village ballpark. Nobody in the village leased the fence to the Little League for that purpose, okay? These are not coming, from me. This is there, okay? And I guess the reason is that why would Little League be making the money where the taxpayers should equally be sharing it? And this is before me. This is not something that I came up with. This is there. So that's it. And that's it. And I think people didn't know about certain things.
But I don't think the Suffern Little League profits at all. Okay. I don't believe there is any profit, especially since we've had to redo the lunch area, the food area.
I just want to say one more note to you, right? The only person that doesn't charge for field use is Suffern. Stoltzberg charges. The town of Ramapo charges. Everyone else charges. The town of Orangetown charges. Everyone.
I'm not up to date with who's charging what, so I can't speak on behalf.
No, Little League came back and told me that. They went and got the numbers. Yeah. So they even know that to be true. So Jim Hart even admitted to me, he said, Mike, everyone else charges. You're right, so.
Well, I think I have said my piece. It sounds like there might be some other. I appreciate you listening. Thank you.
I'm straightforward.
Thank you.
Good. So I'm sure we're going to work it out. I'm sure the mayor's going to work it out and come back with a good solution. We have confidence in it.
We're not losing Little League, okay? All right? I tried to come up with a solution last year, and whatever, but okay, thank you, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So, Joe DeLalla, Stockbridge Avenue, that was my wife.
That's your wife, yeah. You got beautiful twins, too.
Which ones?
To put it out there on you.
Thank you. So, moving forward, knowing that we're now paying for these fields, I, as a parent, am going to have different expectations. Are we going to fix the drainage issue? Are you going to supply new equipment for the snack shop, or do we have to chip in again for that?
Well, that'll be...
The old snack shop?
Listen, these are things we have to talk with Little League about still. So I'm going to hold back until I talk to Little League about certain things, okay? But it is a facility that unfortunately that anyone that uses the fields has the right to use.
I understand that.
Okay, so, yeah, but these are, you're right, these are concerns that have to be answered, and we put them on the table, and we're gonna talk about them.
Maybe we can ask, maybe we can ask.
And now it appears like it's not even volunteers like they do. Little League actually pays people to work the stands now, which I didn't even know that. They have to pay because people don't want to volunteer anymore, so. Thank you.
Mayor, maybe you can ask the Little League to update everyone that is part of this group that...
I will ask Little League to update you as to where we are so far, so they can, express where they are, okay?
Because I don't think anyone here is educated.
I'm not sure Little League has updated you or not, or they haven't, but we have had meetings, and they were very productive. I will say that. They were productive, and that's kind of where that's at, huh? All right.
Sarah Horn, 23 Yorkshire Drive. I have two questions.
Yes.
One regarding Little League. What would it take to have Little League as part of the recreation facility, like under Cathy's team?
Just come and talk to us. We'll sit down, we'll chat about it.
Has anybody even, has that even been brought up?
There's legal questions involved, okay? They'd have to get Little League, not local Little League, Little League International. I don't know if that stops you from being in tournaments. I don't know enough about the inner workings of Little League, okay?
Okay.
But the village wasn't against doing something of that nature, but there'd have to be a contract between the village and this and that. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Then the second part of my question has nothing to do with Little League. So I live at 23 Yorkshire Drive, and I have probably called the DPW no less than 10 times, because there is the house that is 2 doors up from me. 19, you obviously know, that has severe drainage problems. And I would love to know what is being done to that house. And I'll tell you why before you cut me off. So there is a large, because of the problems that they have, it has a huge amount of runoff, because whatever is going on in their house, they are not fixing. So when their runoff happens, it causes a huge ice dam directly in front of my house and in front of my neighbor's house. And my neighbor is 3 months pregnant, and she slipped on the ice and fell because no amount of salt that the DPW puts down mitigates that issue. So this has been going on for at least 4 years, and I want to know what can be done. There's got to be a law, there's got to be a zoning, there's got to be a code, there's got to be something that can address this issue. And if you speak to my neighbors that live directly next door to them, the neighbors at 19, they'll tell you, they control the flow of what's going on. They'll say, oh, we'll turn it off, it'll stop, and then they turn it on. And my backyard, when it rains, floods because of whatever they're doing in their control.
All right, thank you. I'm going to let Charles Sawicki, he's going to be coming up after this, and he'll address it, okay?
Terrific.
Because he did bring it to me recently, okay?
Thank you.
That's why I was able to guess the number, okay?
Thanks, Sarah.
All right, thank you, all right? All right, there's no other speakers. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Motion, Trustee Alpert.
Motion made by Trustee Alpert. Can I get a second, please?
Second, Trustee Corrigan.
Second made by Trustee Corrigan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Department of Public Works. And Charles, please address the 19 Yorkshire first, please.
Good evening. Yes, on Friday of last week, I went up to 19 Yorkshire along with the building inspector. There was a complaint. I did receive a phone complaint from 23. Did receive a letter from 21. Anyway, so we stopped, first took a look at, went at 19, knocked on the door to get permission to get on the property. There wasn't anybody, no response initially. We did, since I was with the building inspector, we were able to get on the property without the permission.
So we did look around, took a look at what was going on there, and then immediately went next door to 21, which we received that written complaint. Apparently, there was no one home at 21. There is, up in that area, there apparently seems to be a lot of groundwater. Now, whether it is a spring, underground spring, it's, unsure whether that's the case or not. I did eventually talk with the gentleman, I guess he was on a webinar or something at 19. He did come to the door, he did come out, we walked the property. So he has, like many people do, have a sump pump in his basement. So we had an issue going back a couple years ago where we cited him with this same problem. So he did address certain issues, and he made his sump pit in his basement, he double-sized the sump pit. He did some other piping modifications. So we just kind of took a wait-and-see approach, since he did take some action. So obviously there still continues to be problems. Did meet with him. And we, expressed our, the concerns of the neighbors, and we saw the water that was, the standing water that was up against the fence between the 19 and 21. He did have the discharge of his sump pit, or sump pump. It looked like he redirected it now further up into his, further up in his yard, which sounded like he did that most recently. He also, in talking with him, we talked about various options, and he did agree that come springtime, when things do get a little bit, dry, things dry out a little bit, and the weather gets a little bit better, he is going to explore putting in a dry well, which then he can pump his sump pump water into this pit, and then would alleviate that excess water. Now, you got to remember now, too, 19's higher than 21, 21's higher than 23. So, you're going to have a certain amount of sheet flow that's going to come down during a rain event. But obviously, the pumping of sump pit water, is something you need to address, that you can't affect your neighbors. So, he has agreed to, get together with, professional, have that done. He's, in the interim, he has moved his discharge much higher up into the property, so it now should infiltrate into or percolate into the ground, although the ground is saturated, but it would minimize water that's coming down.
When he moved that, all that did was now flood my neighbor, who's 21, and me. So I have about 25 feet of wood properly, so I have a lawn, and I have about another 25 feet that's just trees. So by him moving that, instead of coming out of the middle of the front lawn, which is where I used to come with cats that do over there. Now he moved that, so now what happens is my entire back wood literally is a swimming pool. Because he didn't fix the problem, he just changed what it was.
Well, obviously what we're going to do is continue to monitor it, and
He needs to create a drainage into that.
well, that's what I just spoke about, yeah.
Charles,
That's what he said. That's what he said he was going to get.
Charles, would it be legal for him to drain into the sewer, like into his water?
The catch basin?
No.
The problem with, I don't think there's anything nearby him. There's one a little further down the road.
Well, how about in his, but I mean,
once it gets into the roadway, then as
How about into his sink, basically, like a slop sink? Can he drain into that?
I'm sorry, what was
Can he drain into like a slop sink? That's weird. You know what I mean? To get it to go down the drain.
Can't dump into a sanitary source. So there's a couple of
That's what I
things.
meant. I wasn't sure if it was...
Even directly dumping into a catch basin. The problem that we have here in Suffern, as the mayor was talking about earlier, and Fred was talking about earlier, we have a flooding problem here in Suffern. So if everyone was dumping their sump pump water into the catch basins, it would be
Okay.
Disaster.
Okay, I'm just asking. That's just it. I don't know what the...
I appreciate you addressing it, and Danielle is wonderful every time I call her.
So we'll keep monitoring it, and we'll see we could, just a lot of water up there.
Listen, if the guy's willing to work with you, then work with him. If not, just get with Terry, then we'll see if there's something legally in the code we can force him to do, okay?
Yeah, there is. I mean, we've already sent him a letter.
Voluntarily, then we'll go ahead voluntarily, okay?
But what he's done hasn't been totally effective.
Right, okay.
So we definitely have to keep an eye on it.
All right, Charles, thank you. All right, we'll stay on that, Ms. Horn, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, all right, so want to take these individually, Mayor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it individually, all right?
Pardon me?
Let's do individually.
Yeah, okay. A, requesting authorization to accept the resignation of Mr. Michael Loughlin.
Okay, a motion accepting the resignation of Michael Loughlin, please.
Motion, Trustee
Motion
Alpert.
made by Trustee Alpert, second, please.
I'll second it.
Second made by Trustee Osborn, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
B, requesting authorization to solicit formal bids for a new Ford F-350 regular cab 4x4 pickup truck with an attached utility body with a due date of February 15th, 2024 at 2 p.m.
Recently, the DPW had come to us with Charles, he's the head of Public Works, and Joe Hunt with the public, and they asked the village board for equipment that they think that they needed. So we're supplying with every piece of equipment that they asked for. So we'll be using it. Mike Genito do our financing and do our funds, and we'll give them the equipment that they asked for.
Yeah, this particular vehicle will be assigned to the Water and Sewer Department.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
So can I get a motion to authorize solicitation formal bids for a new F-350 regular cab, please?
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee Corrigan. Can I get a second, please?
Second, Trustee Hogue.
Second made by Trustee Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, item C, requesting authorization to solicit formal bids for a new Ford F600 regular cab 4x4 dump body with a due date of February 15th, 2024 at 2:30 p.m.
Authorize solicitation of formal bids for a new F600 regular cab 4x4. Motion, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee Osborn, seconded by Trustee Corrigan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item D, requesting authorization to solicit formal bids for a new Massey Ferguson subcompact tractor with snow plow, snow blade, mower deck, cab heater package, and rear wheel weights with a due date of February 15th, 2024 at 3 p.m.
Authorizing solicitation of formal bid for a new Massey Ferguson subcompact tractor. Motion, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee Corrigan. Second, please.
Second, Trustee
Second made by
Hogue.
Trustee Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item E, requesting authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with American Hose and Hydraulics for the purchase of a used 2012 International Heavy-Duty Truck, hook and ladder multifunctional truck with 13,000 miles, equipped with a snow plow on an emergency basis. This truck also has a salter, 15 cubic yard container, and a flatbed.
Can I get a motion to authorize the mayor to execute a contract with American Hose and Hydraulic for the purchase of a used 2012 International Heavy Body Truck with 13,000 miles, equipped with a snowplow on an emergency basis? Motion, please.
Motion, Trustee Alpert.
Motion made by Trustee Alpert.
Second.
Second, please. Second by Trustee Corrigan. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor. Motion passes.
Okay. Any questions?
That's good, Charles. Just please stay on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On Yorkshire there, okay?
Thanks, Charles.
Thank you. Treasurer, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. We only have one resolution before the Board tonight, and that is to finance the vehicles that DPW just mentioned, that Charles just mentioned. And essentially, the funds would come $65,000 from the water fund for that truck, and that's coming from their contingent account, and $240,000 from the general fund from available fund balance.
Can I have a motion for appropriate fund balance for DPW vehicle? Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make that.
Motion made by trustee Osborn. Can I get a second, please?
Second, trustee
Second made by trustee Alpert. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
At this point, the board's going to go into an executive session on some personal and litigation issues. So we may vote on something when we come out. So we may or may not vote on something when we come out. Okay? No, I'll do that when I come.
Want to do the rest of the agenda before?
Do the rest, yeah, all right, do the rest of the agenda, then I'll do that motion, okay? Bruce there, we always have a great event, not just Battery Saturday here, that, you know, the Community Foundation runs, and people from DPW volunteer, and other people, the trustees volunteer, and Bruce Simon is a big part of that. He's not here, he was the cameraman in back there, so I got a motion to approve the Not Just Battery Saturday for March 9, 2024, in the Village Hall from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Motion, please.
Motion, trustee Alpert.
Motion made by trustee Alpert. I got a second, please.
Second, trustee Corrigan.
Second made by trustee Corrigan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I have a big crate. I'm ready.
Do the trustees want to say anything before we?
I have a question. I have some neighbors that have been asking me about the situation on Maplewood Boulevard, Maplewood Boulevard, with the damaged guardrail, and they want to know when the concrete abutments are going to be replaced by or repaired.
Right. Okay. We actually have a bid out there, and the guy who did it the last time is going to do it. He's actually going to reinforce it better than he did. We also got the check from the insurance company to replace the trees. We're waiting for that guy to come in. You can't plant the trees actually till the springtime, but that's set to go whenever this gentleman gets ready. Right, Charles?
Should be sometime next month.
Right. So next month we'll get that in, and that whole thing will be in. It'll even be. We actually paid for a stronger, how they put more. Middle sides up, so it'll be even stronger, and again, we're going to place the trees also.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can get, Chief, I know, have been doing some patrols up there, and just got to get people to slow down this village, actually, huh? No, yeah, that's, Chief of Police there, I mean, he's been up there doing some more patrols up there. Yeah, it's right. No, we just got to keep giving out, he's got to give out tickets, and he can put up the sign showing how much speed you have too, try to give him warnings. He actually did a study up there already, so he's got flying down. Well, please do us a favor, call the police whenever, you're never bothering us, okay? Just call the police whenever you see it, you can call the 357-2300 number, and just call and report it, okay? And they'll come up there, and then they want to be fools, they're going to get tickets for it, okay? No, we agree with you 100%. Just please keep calling, all right? And I promise you we'll be up there, okay?
Mayor, another thing related to this, one of the neighbors suggested, I don't know how expensive this is or whether it's something worth looking into, but they said that shortly after the last accident, there was one of those speed detectors placed that showed you how fast you were actually going.
That's a new one we recently bought.
And so I was not sure whether it was possible to, whether, maybe a used least mount one on a pole there, just permanently, that people would see their speed, because I think sometimes people don't realize how fast
We
they're
actually
going.
bought a pole one also recently, so, Chief, can you do that? Mount it on that pole, as soon as, you know? And
Apparently that helps.
We're looking to buy a couple more of those anyway.
Yeah.
They don't keep track, as you saw the bigger one, you know, on the wheels? That one gives you speed, it gives you timing, it gives you distance, it gives you a whole understanding of it. That one doesn't give you as much information, but at least it can say, come on, slow down, stupid. If I can get those words on it, which... Yeah, we've been moving it around, that's what we've been doing. Yep, I agree. It is a problem in the village, I won't lie. Speed bumps actually aren't legal anymore, speed bumps themselves, okay? So, something called, the speed bump itself, there's other thing called humps, but then it has to do with then the plows knocking it over, and it becomes a whole nother, you know, another thing there. Right. There's just knuckleheads. We gotta stop knuckleheads from being out there. Knuckleheads, that's what I call them. So, all right, I guess, all right, folks, just so you understand what we're doing, we have some things where we go into executive session now, and this, you know, it has to do with personnel and stuff, so we're gonna go do that, and then we're gonna come back, you know, we'll come back after that. But that's, we could be 5 minutes or we could be an hour, depending on how much these people talk. All right, thank you, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. 1 second. Can I get a motion, please, in executive session?
Trustee Corrigan.
Discuss personnel. To discuss personnel? To discuss personnel?
Second, Trustee Alpert.
I thought we did.
I didn't do it. Just sit down. We gotta do it. Just 1 second, all right, with your problem. Okay? Take a motion to an executive session for personnel.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee Corrigan.
Second, Trustee Alpert.
Albert, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. At this point, I'd like a motion to come out of executive session, please.
Motion, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Motion made
Motion,
by
Trustee Alpert.
Seconded by Trustee Corrigan, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. At this point, I'd like Chief Loughlin to come up, please.
So I just have 2 more items for the board's consideration. I'd like to request that the board appoint Craig Yustine to position of police officer part-time.
I'd like to make a motion authorizing the appointment of Craig Yustine to the position of police officer part-time. Motion, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee Corrigan. Can I get a second, please?
Second, Trustee Alpert.
Second made by Trustee Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Second request is to authorize the nomination of Mr. Matthew Zerpak to the position of part-time police officer, and that will be pending his approval by the Rockland County Department of Personnel.
Can I have a motion to authorize the nomination of Matthew Zerpak?
I'll make that.
Position of police officer, part-time. Motion made by Trustee Osborn. Can I get a
Second,
please?
Trustee Alpert.
Second made by Trustee Albert. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Loughlin.
At this point, any trustees have anything else to say? No. And then the mayor, I think we finished that business there, so I'll just say, just everyone get ready for the hoop and hollering for the Valentine's Day dance on February 14th, okay? And I wish everyone, I just want to also point out it's Black History Month, okay? And I just want to, thank all the African Americans who gave so much, for this country and, for our communities to make this place a better place to live. Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to have a motion to close the meeting, please.
Trustee Corrigan.
Motion made by Trustee Corrigan. Can I get a second, please?
Second, Trustee Alpert.
Second made by Trustee Albert. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.